I'm Maria Menounos, and you're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
What's up, AfterBuzzers? Welcome to the Dirty John After Show, Season 2, the Betty Broderick story. My name is Shanti Christina. I'm going to be your host tonight, and I'm, of course, joined by my lovely co-host, Tyra. How you doing?
Hi, I'm doing well. Hey, guys. Excited to dive into this episode once again. It wasn't as crazy this time, but it was pretty good.
Not as crazy, but we're about to get to like the craziest point of all tonight.
Yeah.
Let's talk about it.
Yeah.
So are you joining us from Chicago? Where are you in this world right now?
I am in Chicago. I decided to come home. That's where home is. I live in California, clearly, but I decided to come home to be with family during these crazy times. So yeah, I'm just here enjoying free food and free meals and just having a good time with my mom and dad.
I love that. I want free food and family time. That sounds amazing. Okay, so let's get right into it. I just want to point out before we start, we do have the live chat up. If you guys are here, please say hi, join the conversation, add your opinion. We want you to participate. That's what this is all about. I see Amber right now. Oh,
Hey, Amber.
but she was here a second ago.
Oh, come back.
Okay, so right off the bat, your first thought of the episode was a little crazy. What did you like it? Did you dislike it?
I loved the women empowerment. You know, what men can do, women can also do. And I commend her for trying to, you know, handle her case or whatever all on her own. I didn't think it was an exciting episode. I think it was just one of those episodes where, you know, you had to kind of, what's the term for it? I can't think of it right now, but kind of just like slow things down a bit and just, you know, give you some information before the big explosion comes. So yeah, it was really good, but yeah, just girl power this episode, even though it didn't turn in her favor, she tried.
I agree with you. She's been kind of crazy this entire season, but seeing her, you know, hold her own in the courtroom was kind of exciting, and I liked it. So I feel like we should just jump right in because that's pretty much what I want to talk about first. Is Betty going crazy, and is she started to be mentally unstable? I feel like there's a couple things that happened that made me feel all these different emotions with Betty. Like, I feel like I have a roller coaster of emotions of how I feel about her. I constantly change my opinion because of what happened.
Yes, literally.
My first thought was, I feel really, really bad for her when she's watching Dan and Linda walk into the graduation together. And I just have that feeling that I feel many women have when they're pretty much replaced by a newer, younger model, and
Yeah.
their ex-husband gets a new wife or girlfriend, and they just insert them into their old life and replace the old wife. And it makes me sad. And I feel like it's just such a common thing. And I don't know, it like kind of tugged at my heartstrings when I saw that.
No, it definitely did. And especially just due to the circumstances. It's one thing if, you know, they mutually agreed that they didn't want to be together and they, you know, decided to end things. But it's just the simple fact that this woman came out of an affair and she won in the end. Normally, you know, when a husband cheats, he has his mistress, but he doesn't necessarily go all the way with her. It's just like, oh, you were just fun for while it lasted, but it ended up lasting forever. So I was definitely hurt with that whole situation and how, you know, when she first came out, Linda was the first person she saw and she was just like, oh my God, I'm so happy you're here. Gave her a big hug. And it's just like, she's literally looking at her like, this B, like, I can't believe my daughter is literally embracing her, knowing the circumstances of how she got my husband. So it was definitely, it was hard to watch.
I totally agree. I would have been a little bit more sensitive if I were the new wife.
Right, like kind of just stand back, you know, like of course show your support, but
yeah, like give it a little space. I do want to jump to the live chat real quick. Amber saying, hi, Dan taking the stand just adds more gas to the fire.
For sure.
We'll get into that in a little bit, but I want to get into how she is kind of a little crazy. And my first example is how we see the newspaper clipping that she gets in the mail about their engagement. And then she writes, eat your heart out, I don't know if we can swear, but
that was crazy because, you know, the way they presented it in the beginning, we're thinking, oh, somebody sent that. And then later when we saw her with the red pen, I'm like, okay, like, you know, last week I was so team Betty and I was just like, you know, he made her this way. But you can't lie, she is kind of mentally ill. Like, I think he triggered it and I think he awakened what was already messed up in her head. And just seeing her do these different things is just like, okay, at this point, it's completely beyond your, I don't know, envy towards him. It's just really something personal at this point.
yeah, I totally agree. I mean, she even brought that newspaper clipping to the lunch with her girlfriends and said, "Look what I got,
Yeah.
look what I received." And it's just like a step too far. It's a little bit concerning that she wrote that. And I think honestly, a part of her brain really thinks that it was sent to her like that. It's almost like she's creating
Yeah.
stuff, which obviously is the unstable aspect of it, right?
The mind does some crazy things, man, because she like is forcing herself to believe things at this point. Like she's making up scenarios in her head and she's believing them. And
Mhm.
it's very unfortunate.
And what did you think when her daughter told her, she goes, you should see what, or you should hear what Dan and Linda say about you when you're gone, the names that they call you. They call you crazy, they call you monster, the beast.
I
Don't go poke the bear. Stop.
don't poke the bear. It was very hard to see. Like, I understand, you know, she is, I mean, Betty is going crazy. I mean, she can't even have normal conversations. She shows up to the graduation and then like just start saying like, I can't believe your husband brought her here to your graduation. So at this point, the daughter, I don't know, she's constantly getting that feedback to the point where she doesn't care what she says to her mom, hence why she said, well, you should hear what they say. Like, I think the kids are just so fed up and they want a relationship with their mom, but because she constantly eggs Linda on, that it's just like I'm it's like they're gonna take any kind of jab at her to make her upset because they're upset of how she's handling the situation, if that makes sense.
No, yeah, that makes perfect sense. And I feel like I don't know if your parents are divorced, but my parents were divorced, and I went through it when I was like 16 years old, so I was completely aware of what was going on. And I would always
Hmm.
hate when my mom would talk trash about my dad because it was just,
Yeah.
don't put me in the middle. And I feel like, I mean, this is obviously like the, furthest extreme possible, but that's kind of what Betty's doing. And then
Hmm.
this was kind of at the end, but what did you think about the child molester rumor revealed as like the reason why the court was closed? I was like, I mean, was that put on by Dan's camp, I'm assuming?
I feel like it is, and I don't know because it's after watching the show, Dan is perceived as a very powerful man. Powerful man. He's known. He's a lawyer. So it probably wasn't even necessarily Dan who said this. It could just be people just on his side or just people from the outside just trying to trigger on the situation because they were talking about like newspaper ads and she went to that one meeting or whatever and the lady was like, oh yeah, I've been seeing your stuff all over and I've been hearing about your story. So I don't know if it was from his camp or is it just people just in the mix because it's such an open, you know, situation to the public.
I know, it's such a sad thing to say, and I feel like Dan has done some low stuff and is manipulative, but I doubt that he would release a rumor about his own ex-wife being a child molester because that's just
I
it seems
would
a
hope
little bit
not.
too far to me.
I would hope not. But at this point, I don't put anything past him, seeing that he made her crazy and now he's literally saying she needs to be checked into a mental hospital. Um, I don't know. I just don't put anything past him. Like he's just sneaky. Clearly, like for him to even, you know, just be how we talked about last week, him lying back and forth to her, saying, you know, no, Linda is not someone I'm dating, just for it all to be, you know, true. So I hope he wouldn't go that low, but how he's acted this whole season, I don't know. It may be
Totally.
real.
Totally. And this guy, I just want to jump into basically the meat of the episode, which was mostly the courtroom and everything that went on there. So then, like we were saying, we see this whole other side of Betty, which I think is the first um, really big side. She's super smart. She's able to hold her own,
Yeah.
representing
Hmm.
herself. She brings up valid points. And I was just a little bit shocked at this side of her because, at one point we're seeing her pretty much going crazy. And then in the next, she is totally holding her own.
Yeah, I was very shocked also. I mean, I knew she had it in her, but just seeing how she handled herself, how she had her facts and things like that, even though it was more of what was the term that they called it? They were saying you can't, it's not a guilt trial or something that they were saying along the lines of
Fault
not,
trial.
I'm sorry.
A fault trial, I think. Is
Fault. Why am I saying guilt? I need my notes. But yeah, it's not a fault trial. So I mean, outside of those things, she really did hold her own. She did a good job. Um, so yeah, I agree. I was surprised to see her acting in more of a calm manner because we just see her spazzing all the time. But she's actually very intelligent.
I want to jump to the live chat. Amber says Dan's face showed exactly how much he was enjoying watching Betty come undone in court because of him.
Amber, I saw that and I literally wanted to punch the screen. I was like, he is loving this. Like, that's what I mean by just evil, manipulative, sneaky. Like, he knows that she doesn't know, lawyer lingo or how to present herself in a courtroom. And he's literally snickering, like, just watching her make a fool out of herself. And to me, that just kind of shows how he is as a man. Like, I understand you guys have your faults, but she still was the person who, birthed your children. It should just be some kind of respect. Regardless of what happened, you should still not treat her as if she's just, I don't know, just some random bimbo, or she was the mistress. So I agree, Amber. I was so mad watching him smile in that courtroom.
Okay, I have a question for you and obviously the people in the live chat. Is the affair is the reason, oh my God, I can't talk. I'm so sorry. Is the affair the reason for the divorce? Because obviously that's how he said it. Dan said in court, he goes, no, the affair is not for the divorce. But my question is, if he hadn't fallen in love with Linda, would they still be together? Would he eventually have fallen out of love? What do you think would have happened if this certain scenario didn't?
I don't know, because we kind of saw before Linda came in the picture and before he was commenting on this lady being in the office being beautiful, we saw them going to the therapy, and he told what his faults were in the relationship and she shared hers, and it seemed like he was kind of on track. So I don't know, I feel like he probably wouldn't have changed, but I don't know. That's a good question. I'm like stuck. I don't know.
I know, because their marriage didn't seem like it was totally done for by any means, but he did seem a little bit checked out. So I don't know. It's just interesting to think about.
I think it's just that ego thing when you start making money and you're older, you have power when you have more money. So of course, if a young girl comes through, I don't know, maybe he just kind of felt like, I want to see if I still have it kind of thing. And then when he realized that she was feeling him too, it was just like, oh, okay, we really doing this. All right, let's take it there.
Better pick again. The moral of the story.
Men are pigs. And then also, the people that he hung around could have been an influence too. He probably wouldn't have necessarily wanted to, cheat on his wife, but he has friends that we witnessed and saw on the show that were having their own mistresses, and they were, talking about getting divorces with their wives and moving on to other people. So that could have been a factor in it also.
Definitely. I want to jump to the court because it's hard for me to follow everything because I'm not obviously a lawyer.
No, oh my gosh, Shanti. I was like, if Shanti gets on this Zoom and tries to talk all of this legal stuff, I'm gonna have to just check out because I don't know what is going on. All I know is she's holding it down.
No, I couldn't even explain to you how many times I rewound a scene and I was like, okay, wait, what happened?
Right, like what is
so you know how Dan, the Epstein credits thing, right? How he got money back because of the timeline of when he, filed for divorce or filed for separation. Like he manipulated the system to his advantage, right? For financial gain.
Right, based off of what she was doing as far as the harassing and things like that. Is that what you're saying?
No, like remember, I think it was a scene either last week or the week before where he got her a new house and he said that they were going to move in together, but really he had the entire time to leave her. But then the money that he spent, he was going to get back from the courts. It's called Epstein credits. I don't really understand it. So he like manipulated the system so he would basically get his money back because he knew that he was going to leave her. And in the courtroom, she pretty much proves that with like the transaction dates And
oh yeah, I remember. And she was
yeah, and I
asking
was
like,
surprised
why was this out of the account or something like that? Okay.
yeah, exactly. And I felt like she proved it, so I was confused as why the judge didn't buy it or go for it. You know what I mean?
I personally think the judge was on Dan's side.
Mhm.
Just how he was acting, and I mean, I understand, well, I don't understand clearly the courtroom stuff, but in a way, he was kind of mocking her too. Because I don't know if you peeped when she had that lady that supported her, and she wanted to have an open trial, I guess, but they were recommending that it's closed for the children's sake. And he was kind of just too much on Dan's side for me. Like he was too biased instead of just saying, you have to make the decision, not, throwing in there, well, this will affect your kids or things like that. So from the beginning of that scene, I personally felt like whatever she did, he was going to still go on, favor Dan anyway.
100%.
So, yeah.
Yeah. And the whole no fault thing, I thought that was interesting. Again, I don't know anything about law stuff, but it's like you can't talk about the affair. Well, why? The affair is the reason
Why.
whole,
But
situation.
do you think it's because like maybe that was supposed to be talked about when they originally had the court dates to file for divorce? And like, I don't know, clearly I don't know. But I don't know. I feel like this particular trial was solely like he had already got approved for a divorce or something. Remember? And she was like, I can't believe he did that. I didn't even have a lawyer. I wasn't even there. So maybe this particular trial was simply just about custody
And
and money and things like that, which is why she couldn't do that. But if she would have, gotten it together when they originally, when Dan decided to go through with the divorce, maybe she could have been able to tell her side of the story, but she prolonged and waited too late.
I think you're right.
I hope so.
We can figure this out together. Amber from the live chat says Dan would have divorced Linda like Betty if Betty didn't kill them. So I think that she's saying that he would have eventually cheated on her as well.
Probably.
That's what rich, powerful men do, I think.
They do, I guess.
What did you think about her settlement? She ended up getting $16,000 a month for custody or for child support. And then her custody agreement was kind of shitty. She got alternating holidays and weekends.
Yeah, I thought I don't necessarily know about like the money thing because I feel like if she kind of would have handled everything differently, she probably would have had a more fair shot. And seeing that she was stalking, seeing that she's been fined, it was kind of just like, I don't know, to me, it was like, why would we even reward you with this amount of money when I don't know, you're already mishandling your own well-being. But I think she still should have been able to get more time with the kids. I mean, alternating weekends and alternating holidays, that's not nice. It's not cool.
Like stolen everything from her.
Literally, like if I want to go hang out with my daughter on a Wednesday, I can't do that. Yeah.
But yeah, I think that if she handled it differently from the beginning and just didn't have any of like the crazy psychotic behavior, it would have turned out way better for her, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
I wrote down the quote that they said in the show, or what she said. She said, men write the rules, women aren't allowed to get angry, which I thought is so true. Especially
it's so true.
in that time, which was like the 80s, where men kind of ruled the roost, right?
Mm-hmm. And what did she say? She was like, we're the ones who cry. We're the ones who take, we have to take pills to control our emotions and all of that. I mean, you're right. Just seeing how things are being handled, you can just tell that the kind of era that they were in during that time.
Right. I want to jump to Linda because obviously we've talked about her as the other woman, but we kind of see her turn a little evil at the end of the episode, right?
Yeah.
Where she's at the work dinner and one of Dan's colleagues' wife, who is also Betty's friend, tries to have her return the china that she's been pining about.
Begging for.
It's almost like, it's like on one hand, I thought that she was really mean, right? Like she could have just said, I'm going to return the china. Here you go. I'll give in. But then on the other hand, she's like, well, or I can break it. And she's like, Betty hasn't been nice to me. Betty hasn't been a good, stable friend to me. And I don't like Betty. I don't like what I've seen. So I'm just going to break it. I'm not going to give it back to her. I don't know. Like I go back and forth, but I thought for the most part, it was like messed up.
No, I'm not going back and forth on that because first of all, she caused all of this. You can't be a mistress and then play victim at the same time. Give her china and move on so you can move on. Like I just didn't that actually blew me like, oh, so now she wants to get rowdy because she has the ring now and she has the income. No, ma'am, you were the mistress and you need to be held accountable for what you did.
Yeah.
I was just really upset by that. Like, you won already. Don't trigger her more. You already see that she's crazy.
I know it was messed up, but I think it was the first time that we saw kind of a different side of Linda. Like we've always seen her. Of course, she was the one that participated in the affair, but for the most part, she's been nice and sweet and goes with the flow. And this was kind of the first time we're like, oh, there's a little bit of.
For me, I was really just kind of like the audacity, honestly. Like, I get it. It's draining. I get it. But come on now. You set yourself up for this. What did you expect? You unfortunately got caught in a situation where the wife ended up being crazy. Some women can just move on, but just your luck, this woman is psycho and she's taking everybody down. So at this point, she just needs to repent or do whatever she does to get peace of mind and just move on from the situation.
I agree. Jumping into live chat, NZ Sequoia says the judge was biased. Betty should have been compensated more. And yes, if Betty would have just sat back, kept getting the money Dan was giving her at the time. Amber says Dan couldn't have gone to law school without Betty supporting him and her by working 2 jobs. Funny thing is that Linda wasn't even skilled at being a secretary.
Right, Amber. Right. She was not skilled at all. Like, I want to teach you. It's okay if you don't get it. What? I'm not going to a law office and I don't know anything. Like, that's a whole different kind of field.
She worked her way up to the top, though.
Oh, she worked it all right.
She worked it up there. What did you think about the journalist that approached her when she got out of jail and said that he would write a story in favor of her or help her, and then it came out and he had kind of removed all the details in Dan's favor?
I was actually sketchy about him from the beginning because first of all, why are you showing up? Like, I just walked out of the prison cell. You can at least wait till I get home, set up a meeting. Like, you're literally waiting there as I gather my belongings. So from the beginning, I was kind of just like, just knowing like how we talked about earlier, how Dan is kind of a powerful person and he knows all these people. I just knew that that man was going to be used against Betty. Luckily, it wasn't, but it still, again, didn't fall in her favor because Dan knew what was going on and he was able to intervene on his behalf.
Yeah, for sure. What did you think about I didn't even know exactly what it was. It was like a litigation help meeting where she went to that meeting with all those people that I guess had other litigation
like
questions.
Just issues. I don't know.
And then she kind of befriends that one lady and she's on her side and really wants to help her. What do you think was the significance of that?
I think it was just, making it known that everybody knows about this case. And I think Betty was kind of used as an example at that meeting, just like, oh, she's going through things too. You should listen to her story. I think it was kind of like a vent session thing. I don't know. But I just took it as that's when I realized, oh, a lot of people know about, this case. This is it's a growing case. The community knows. I don't know if she necessarily has a motive or what, why she wanted to help. Well, she said she had went through a divorce and she had knew kind of like, I guess, the process and things like that. But it was kind of strange to me that just out of nowhere, she's like, oh, I want to help you. Like, let's do this. I don't know.
She was really supportive. And am I right in saying that she was the one that told her that she could do it pro se where you defend yourself? Was she the one that gave her the idea?
She did. She put it in her head.
Yeah.
But she put it in her head because when they were on that bench, they were talking about Betty knew. She was just like, he's a lawyer. He already has one up on me. And I think she was saying I might as well do it for free. So I don't know. Was it Betty who said it? And she kind of was just like, oh, well, if that's what you want to do, I'm here for you. I think that was kind of how it happened.
Yeah. And
someone in the chat remind us.
Help us out in the chat, please. And then also remember they try to find the money history,
the files. That was strange when she went to the office to get there. Yeah.
What happened?
I don't know. Dan's up to something. He
Dan
has to be.
saved all the files.
Dan or Linda, since she's on this whole little outrage thing, she's probably stirring the pot too behind the scenes, and we just don't know it yet.
Part of me really
That's
wants
just a theory.
Part of me really wants to Google this story because I wonder, I had never heard of it until now. And part of me really wants to know how true it is. Obviously, some things are fictionalized because they have to do a TV
I'm
show.
trying to wait till the end though, because I want to like see what happens and then read up on it.
I know, I agree. But I want to know like all the details and stuff. I did Google her picture and she doesn't look like the actress, but
nothing at all. First of all, let's talk about that. Why do they do that when they're casting these people? Like, no offense, like I understand, you know, you have to, I don't know, jazz it up a bit, but they could have been a little more on it. I think she just looks completely different besides the blonde hair.
Yeah, probably just because it's a TV show and they have to like sensationalize people nice to look at. I don't know.
Maybe that's what it was.
Is there anything else in the episode that you wanted to touch on that we haven't covered or talked about yet?
Honestly, I think we like nailed it because the whole thing was just about her, you know, representing herself. I guess I just want to reiterate on how Linda needs to stay in her place. But other than that, the episode was good.
Linda.
Linda, she just didn't know what she was getting herself into, clearly.
I know. Also, it's kind of funny how Betty refers to her as the whore constantly.
The whore. The whole time. Well, I do want to kind of just hit on, we talked about it a little bit, but just, I guess it's just so how unfortunate of how this whole scenario is kind of separating from her kids. We talked about it earlier with what her daughter said, but just, I don't know, just in general, I feel like we've seen it. It's become a trend of all the episodes where instead of spending that quality time with her kids, she just finds a reason to bring up Linda. And I just think that's not fair and it sucks. But we talked about that already, but that was just heavy on my heart this episode.
Yeah. No, it's when anger gets the best of you, I think, for sure. And she's like a scorned ex-wife. In the live chat, MZ Sequoia says, it's a good story, ladies. And I agree. Bree, our engineer, was just asking me before we started if I like this. Is it better or worse than last season? And I said it's totally different, but I really like it. I like it equally as much.
It's more juicy. Like the other one was, well, okay, I'm not even going to compare it because these are life things and they're all unfortunate events. I'm not going to compare it, but this one was just a little more spicy, seeing how, you know, it's more of a revenge act instead of a self-defense act.
And it's going to end in murder, which the last one was, I guess, attempted murder. So,
yeah.
That said, let's get into some predictions for next week. I mean, what do you think? I mean, we pretty much know what's going to happen.
We know what's going to happen, but I mean, we know, but we don't know. I don't know. I'm going to predict that my prediction is what I said earlier. Linda is probably behind the little sneaky stuff. Like maybe she was the one who said she was a child molester and did all the crazy stuff. And honestly, that's all. I just think after Linda acted in that last scene, her character is getting ready to develop some more. And we're getting ready to see some true colors come out about Miss Linda.
Right. I guess, and we didn't cover kind of the biggest thing at the end of the episode. We see Betty buying a gun.
Oh yeah, she bought a gun.
Sorry.
How did we forget that?
So we know it's coming.
Prediction. Or maybe a theory, I don't know, because I haven't read into the story because I wanted to watch first. Maybe she was coming to the house to kill Linda because she's been so outraged at Linda that she accidentally killed Dan. I don't know.
Okay, wait, do you not know who she kills?
Oh, wait, I don't, so never mind.
Okay.
She kills Dan.
I guess I won't spoil it for you.
She kills Dan, right? I don't know.
Okay, well, I'm just going to let you figure it out.
Okay, we'll just talk, but...
Okay. Oh, and also in next week's episode, I think it shows Linda opening. It looks like she's at a baby shower, so I think that she's pregnant. Which is,
or is it a bridal shower party?
Ooh, it could be that too. I wasn't sure, but I feel like that pushes what's her face over the edge, Betty. But clearly, she's already over the edge because she's already bought a gun, right?
Yeah. So maybe.
Ooh, sorry.
No, it's fine.
It says there is an original Betty Broderick movie with Meredith Baxter playing Betty. You can find it on YouTube for free. And that is a different point of view as well. I like it because I like when they show different points of view. Obviously, this one is just, Betty.
I'm gonna have to look into that. Thanks.
Thank you. Okay, so some crazy stuff's going to happen next week. Clearly, the murder is going to happen next week. So
yeah, well, we have 2 more episodes. So
yes,
we'll
shit
see.
is about to hit the fan. So I can't wait. Thank you guys so much for joining us. This has been such a juicy series and episode. Tyra, where can we find you on social media?
Yes, you guys can find me on Instagram at Tyra Prude Official, and you can find me on Twitter at Tyra Prude. And catch me on this after show. Huh?
Where else on AfterBuzz?
Okay. Right now I'm only on this show, but I do Love and Hip Hop News Weekly, so check that out. And I'm just hanging out with Dirty John right now until another show pops up.
I didn't know Love and Hip Hop is still on, but good to know.
Oh, it's still on. Girl. Okay. That franchise is not going anywhere at this point.
Perfect. Well, you guys can find me on Instagram at Shanti_Christina or Twitter at Shanti Christina. Thank you guys so much for watching. We will see you next week. We have 2 episodes left. I can't wait. So we'll
tell your friends so we can talk in the chat.
Have a great 4th of July. Bye.
Bye.
Our founder, Keven Undergaro, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.